I think the biggest change I've seen is it's gone largely from an aesthetic practice of styling or beautifying something to actually being a strategy for innovation. In our case, we're able to use design first as a mental model for how you might change services or your organization, and then apply it to the product or to the environment in which you sell the product. And I think that's a massive change from where design once was. And you can see from our own perspective, we call it design thinking, where we're saying you use the mental models of a designer to explore these ideas, which is really a generative way of thinking about the world. Well, technology is always changing. And so from a design perspective, I think what's new about technology is the way it's uniting people. It's more social. It's allowing new networks to form around the world that did not exist before. And you see that in what we call the sharing economy, right? And the businesses coming out of the sharing economy. And as designers, where we once were working in what I might call more of a Newtonian style, meaning the physical world is what we're manipulating. Now we have to start thinking in terms of what I would call more Darwinian or biological, because you're designing for networks. And designing for networks is a very different thing, right? I don't know if anybody's actually teaching anybody how to design for networks yet, so we're learning as we go as well. Technology is what's causing that change, right? What we have learned is that designers on their own, whereas they used to maybe be the sole provider of a solution, can no longer be that. It needs to have a community of people you're working with, or even better, co-creating with the people you're designing for, because you need that many perspectives and skill sets. Imagine trying to redesign a city. You can imagine, in the old days when an individual could draw out a map for where the city hall should be, where the park should be, where the residences are, but try to do that today and then try to retrofit someplace like Beijing or New York. That's not a possibility that any one individual can do. It needs to be a collaborative effort. And that, to me, that's the biggest change in design today. Well, the needs have not changed. We all need some kind of insurance in our lives to assure that we're going to have either care for those around us, or we'll take care of the financial obligations we have. But the education in the new generations is not there. It's hard enough to imagine paying off your college debt or understanding how to afford the vacation you want when you can't even really afford to live in San Francisco, for example. So what we've learned is that there's a massive curriculum change that needs to happen first, which is saying, as an adult in society now, we need to readdress financial fluency, help you understand your trade-offs between happiness and wealth, help you know how to have judgment in those things, but also, quite frankly, what part of life stage that entails. So, it used to be that as an adult, you would learn those things, right? You would see it modeled in your parents. You might even have some education in home economics. And adulthood was actually something to aspire to. If you ever look at photos from young people in the 40s and 50s, they look like they're in their 30s. I don't know what was going on then. Today, you see people in their 30s and you think they're 18, right? So, and I think that's reflected mentally as well. So what we're looking to do is re-educate a whole generation on how to think about finances and insurance and why it might be important in their lives. The other side of that is you can't just convince people that it's important. You have to offer value, right? So you have to imagine what new kinds of value can I offer besides ensuring that if something horrible happens to you, everything will be okay, right? So that's where education comes in. Can I teach you today about how to make judgments around your financial health? Can I teach you today about adulthood, like throwing a dinner party or choosing a wine to take to a friend's house? Can I help you today choose renting a car or purchasing a car or just using Uber for a year? Because they all might be financially viable alternatives that you don't even know how to evaluate. And that's the big shift. The products are the same, the services have to change.